Ghost of Yotei released just a day or two ago, depending on when you're listening to this. And we've got two experts on Ghost on today's show. So we're asking the question, is Ghost of Yotei worth your 5 to 9 after your 9 to 5? This is Sunset Selects. Now, this is the part where I normally would say play the intro, but we don't have an intro today. So we're just going to skip over that. Welcome to Sunset Selects, everyone, the weekly show where Samson and I talk about games, movies, and everything else that you should be spending your 5 to 9 after your 9 to 5 with. Now, you've probably noticed I'm not Samson, and that, depending on which side it ends up on, is not Jordan. And that's because Samson, our dearly departed, has left us. He's on a trip to Japan. He'll be back in a few weeks. So in the meantime, you're stuck with me in the hosting chair, and I'm going to have a slew of guests on to help us get through these tough times while Samson is away. So look forward to hearing from a few new and maybe familiar faces. On today's show, we have the only person I know who has more amiibos than I. It's Mr. Highscoreweekly. Everyone say hello to Josh. Josh, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Yes, amiibos. We love them.
We do indeed. We do indeed. I had a good time going through your Instagram, and I had seen your Instagrams with amiibos in them, but I hadn't seen the one that you had done of, like, I think your full collection. And that was when I realized that we are perhaps cut from the same cloth, although perhaps I manage my money a little better, or perhaps you have more money than me. I'm not sure which. Know. But regardless, I have a lot of amiibos, but you have many more.
I've been like a Nintendo fan my whole life, so it was kind of, I almost, in the words of, like, you know, the chat, they say, like, would you be sad if they stopped making them? And I'm actually saying no, please stop making them so I could stop buying them.
Yeah,
because I just feel like at this point too, sunk cost fallacy. I have so many, I just have to keep going. But I wouldn't mind if, you know, one day it just ended and then I could have a, you know, be done with it.
Yeah. I totally get that. For me and my wife, we started collecting them when they first released. Mm-hmm. And at the time, of course, it was only the Smash series. And also at the time, the Smash roster was much smaller.
Correct.
So it was manageable. And we very much were like, once they started kind of coming out with more, we were like, we're only getting the Smash series ones. Now we did eventually wind up with, like, we've got Gold Mario. I mean,
yeah. Oh, he's getting something.
I've got a few of the classics behind me.
Anniversary one, yeah.
Yeah. I've got, you know, I mean, eventually Animal Crossing ones came out. So we did break that rule. But we've not gone too crazy with it.
I think even if you stick to just Smash, it's such a huge roster that it's out of control.
It is. I mean, I remember, well, we used to do, you know, I mean, up here in Canada, they don't frequently have midnight releases for things like Amiibo, but we would be at Toys R Us, which, I mean, no longer exists for you guys anymore either, but this is many years ago, but we'd be at Toys R Us for opening at 6 a.m. to, you know, beat the rush or be a part of the rush to get them when they first dropped. I remember ordering some from, gosh, I think it was a Chinese, Play Asia. That's
Play Asia, yeah. I had to get some from there. So yeah, we definitely had a similar experience.
Yeah, I got Little Mac through Play Asia. Mm-hmm. I want to say Mewtwo was through there because I couldn't get him elsewhere. I also at an auction of, like, it was one of those, like, Amazon return auctions where you can just go, and I got an Ice Climbers one that was broken. Okay. The hammer had broken off. Okay. So I just, like, a little dab of glue, stuck it back on.
I think for the listeners, if you're not familiar with that time period of the amiibos, because right now you could just walk in and buy them. For some reason, I don't know. It was like people were scalping them like anything else, right?
Yeah.
But why those? I don't know why those. And it was frustrating for people who just wanted to not do that and just collect them. Because, like he's saying, you're having to wake up before stores open to get the gold Mario or, like, whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, Play Asia, I had to hit up that for some of the Zelda ones because Japanese ones, they don't scalp as much in that market. So you could potentially get the Japanese release ones if you just wanted the physical amiibo. So yeah, and we had the similar path for sure.
Yeah. And of course you had to wait, you know, 3 to 6 months for it to arrive if ordering on Play Asia. Now, I do bring this up partially because we did recently have a casualty in the amiibo family, and I'll hold it up here because I do have it right here.
Oh,
this is the Ivysaur
Yeah.
Smash amiibo. And of course, you can tell my dog got a hold of it.
Oh, I
And
see I didn't see the base at first. I see it
yes,
now.
yeah, the
Yeah.
base is probably the
Yeah.
most obvious, but like the leaf there on
Yeah.
its
That's what I
back,
noticed first.
there's supposed to be two really cool
Mm-hmm.
vines stretching out here. We got about half a vine, so unfortunate, but life goes on. And I mean, the nice thing is with cons and everything nowadays, we see amiibos at every single one. I've got my fingers crossed. We'll find,
You just see it, used
a
or
new
something. Yeah.
Ivysaur. Yeah, and we'll just replace it because I mean, it's Ivysaur. Like
Now
nobody's
I see
favorite is
you probably.
Ivysaur.
Yeah, you're probably not keeping in the box, right?
I subscribe to the idea, just like Toy Story taught me, that toys are meant to be played with.
Yeah, there
So
we go. You heard
all
it
of
here.
mine are out of box.
A lot of sometimes when you do these videos, I do a couple of amiibo videos, and it causes that debate, and a lot of people are like,
Mm-hmm.
keep it in the box, don't keep it in the box.
No.
If it brings you joy to keep in the box, that's
Okay, fair,
fine. But
fair.
but like if you're like us and you have like every Smash amiibo, you really logistically can't keep them in the
That's a lot of
box.
boxes. Yes. Yeah.
It's quite a bit. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thanks for talking amiibo with me because that's not
yeah,
something I get to do
anytime. We could
with
do an amiibo
with
podcast.
we really could, unfortunately. Anyways, that's not what we're here to talk about today. As I hinted at the top of the show, didn't really hint at it, I just said it. This is our Ghost of Yotei episode. And of course, that is because by the time you're listening to this, Ghost of Yotei dropped probably 2 days ago. Technically 1 day ago. But, if you're where I am, it dropped at 10 p.m. If you're where you are, it dropped at 11 p.m. So we've had some time to spend with it. I certainly haven't spent a incredible amount of time with it, although it's been a decent amount, but I don't feel like I'm very far in. So we're going to talk a lot about Ghost today, but first I want to play a little game that'll help you, the audience, me, the host, and everyone else listening get to know Josh here. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen here for you, Josh.
Okay,
We're going to
okay.
play
I'm
a
ready.
little game.
I don't know what's happening, so we're going in blind,
That's right. That's right.
but I'm
Okay.
down.
Here we go. Okay. So you tell me if you can see my screen. There it is.
Yeah,
There it
I
is.
see. I see. It's
Okay, perfect.
just blurry colors.
Yes, that's exactly what I want. So here's how we play the game. I'm going to play the intro for you first. It's called Cop or Drop. Now, listeners of the show will know we have played this before. I played it once with Samson. It was a fun little getting to know you game, although obviously I know Samson, but it really kind of opens the door to a lot of different discussions. So the name of the game is Cop or Drop. The way you play, you're going to be given 2 choices, maybe 3 choices. You have to pick which one survives in perpetuity and which one you never get to experience again. We'll start with our first example because it's a pretty good one and it should answer a lot of your questions if you have any. So let me jump to the next one. Okay, so your first choice. Will you cop the Nintendo Switch 2 or the PlayStation 5? The other one must be dropped.
I'm honestly, this is the easy one for me. I'm copping the Switch 2, and I'm
All
dropping
right.
the PS5.
I knew you would. I knew you would.
Yeah,
And
this is
I,
an
se-
obvious one,
I
probably.
set you up for that in a lot of ways. But
Mm-hmm.
I always got to bring up the PlayStation, of course, because I am, some would say the resident Sony pony. Samson
Yeah.
sold his PlayStation 5 in part to have some spending money for Japan, which big mistake.
Big mistake.
How's that Switch 2 working out for you, Samson? No games. Anyways, your next choice is, of course, the Steam Deck or the Switch 2.
This is a little tougher because I do think the Steam Deck is a great product,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm assuming I can keep my PC.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I can keep my PC. So I'm still gonna cop the Switch to drop the Steam
Okay.
Deck, because most PC games I'd rather just play on my screen. Anyway, I do like the Steam
Okay.
Deck though, so this is a little tougher.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
I assume from everything you're saying, you have a Steam Deck, correct?
I don't, but I'd like
Oh,
one.
you don't? Okay. Fair enough.
I've used
Fair
them.
enough.
And I like Valve hardware. I have a Valve Index, so I
Okay.
actually really like their hardware.
I should
And
have
so
known.
Yeah, I do. I like Valve hardware. I even had that little controller they made for a while.
Yeah, yeah.
The Steam Deck is one of the first Valve hardware products I haven't picked up yet, but,
Okay. Okay.
you know.
And I imagine, I mean, if you do have a PC gaming rig, then, in large part, all it's doing is taking that on the go,
Yeah.
which, for some, helpful for others,
Oh,
not
yeah.
so much. I recently, over a year ago now, got a PlayStation Portal. And the
Mhm.
big reason for that is because, again, I'm a PlayStation gamer. Now I can play games while me and my wife are watching a show, and it has worked out just
Oh, yeah.
perfectly.
Definitely.
I was a little concerned about things like lag, everything like that. I'm not playing, Twitch shooters, but I've played
Yeah.
Hollow Knight on it, and it
Yeah,
works just fine. So we are good
for
on that
sure.
front. Now, your next choice.
Oh,
I've pulled possibly a favorite here of some people. I'm sure
yeah.
it's someone's favorite, the Virtual Boy,
Mhm.
against what I'm hoping is one of your favorites, the DK
Oh,
Bongos
okay,
for
this
the
is a good
GameCube.
one, yeah.
So you
Okay.
got to pick one of these. One of these
Yeah,
lives with you for the rest of time. The other, you are never allowed to touch, see,
okay.
smell, or think about again.
This is a good one. This isn't one that like, immediately I wasn't, like,
Hmm,
gravitate
hmm.
towards. I had to think about it a little more.
Good.
I have both of these
I know.
original hardware, yeah, yeah, yeah. He did his research, folks. I would go with the DK bongos. Both of these things are kind of limited in their
Yep.
their
In their
library or
use
their
case.
scope compatibility.
Yeah.
Virtual Boy only has 11 or so games. Only about 3 are like honestly
Actually
that
good.
great. Wario Land being really good.
Okay.
Um, DK Bongos, I like rhythm games, so
Okay.
I think Donkey Konga is really fun,
Hmm.
and DK Jungle Beat's good too. But just the replayability of like having Donkey Konga,
Hmm.
would I think I would get more enjoyment out of that than Virtual Boy in general. So I would keep the DK Bongos. So I'm
Awesome.
dropping the Virtual Boy.
Awesome. I love it. And
Yeah,
again, I brought this up specifically because um, you might be the only person I know, other than myself and my friend who had the DK bongos, that
mm,
has actually played with the DK bongos.
yeah.
I remember when he got this thing, and we were playing. What was the first one? Jungle Beat,
Donkey Kong Jungle Beat,
Donkey
yeah,
Konga. Oh, it says, look at that.
hmm
It says it right there.
or Donkey
Um,
Konga.
yeah. Oh, it
That's the
actually, yeah, it
music
says
one.
both.
Jungle Beat's the
Okay.
platformer. Yeah,
Gotcha. Yes. I recall spending so many nights playing that game, just beating on those silly drums. I'm pretty sure he wound up convincing his parents to get him a second set as well. I don't
yeah.
recall if it had multiplayer or not,
It
but
does, yeah.
it does.
Donkey
So,
Konga does, yeah, the
okay.
music one, yeah.
That must be why then, because man, I remember us drumming those little bongos
Yeah,
into the wee hours of the night. And
mhm.
what a good time
I like
for
it, yeah.
such a
I like weird peripherals too, so technically the Virtual Boy
very
could
weird.
probably even as a console, it's almost like a weird peripheral as well, but,
True.
yeah, weird controllers, weird peripherals. Donkey Kong bongos, definitely up there.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Well, good. I think you made the right choice that time around.
Okay, okay.
Now,
Oh,
next up,
uh-oh,
we have
uh-oh.
I held back on asking which was your
Yeah,
favorite Final Fantasy. I knew you're a
yeah,
fan,
mhm,
but I threw up two that I think, if you were to poll 100 people,
yeah,
these two would be the highest rated choices. 100 people, 1,000 people, whatever.
mhm.
We got Final Fantasy 7, we got Final
Oh.
Fantasy 10. Which one are you copping? Which one are you dropping?
Man, this is a tough one. Now you're getting really tricky here. Because
And
I
you know
love
what?
both of these.
For
Yeah,
argument's sake,
yeah.
remake does not exist.
Okay, yeah, original
Just
release.
because you
That's
could
fine.
easily
Yeah,
pick,
yeah. Well, it's
well,
like a different game.
exactly.
Yeah,
True,
yeah,
true. But go ahead.
yeah. Oh boy. Tough. This one's tough. I think. Ooh, yeah. This one's really hard. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna. Uh, I'm going to.
If it'll help
Yeah.
you,
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about your history with 7. Tell us a little bit about your history with 10.
Well, 7 was really cool because I grew up in Hawaii. So
Oh, okay.
had friends, I had a friend, one of my family friends, they're from Taiwan, and he's a little bit older than me,
Mhm.
but, he spoke, English, Japanese, and,
Okay.
Chinese, Mandarin.
Wow. Wow.
And so yeah, I just speak English, right? And so he at this point in time, games a lot of times would like come out in Japan first, and then it'd take
Mhm.
like months or whatever till it
Mhm.
comes in the US. I was a huge Nintendo only fan. Like I did not like Sony, did not like Sega, whatever, Super Nintendo loyalist, N64 loyalist. But I also really like Final Fantasy, right? Like Final Fantasy 6, especially, which is
Hmm.
3 on, whatever. In the
Right.
in the States, it was 3 on Super Nintendo. And so the new one was coming out on PlayStation, Final Fantasy 7,
Hmm.
and he imported it. And I would go over and he would basically translate it like as he's playing. I would just watch him play and he would
Live
translate the
translation.
Japanese, yeah, in
That's
in, in
amazing.
English. And so that's a very nostalgic kind of
Hmm.
experience. And then I thought I could hold off. I was like, okay, I experienced the game is really cool, but like I'm not getting a PlayStation. Final
Hmm.
Fantasy 8, finally, I was like, okay, I'm getting a PlayStation. So that's Final Fantasy
Yep.
8 is what caused me to go multi-platform.
Okay.
And then Final Fantasy 10, of course, is just incredible because it's the first one with like all the voice acting. I know the voice acting, people kind
Hmm.
of make fun of it these days, but there wasn't a lot of big budget games like this doing that
Yeah.
at the time. So it was very like in its time. So I think I would go with I think I would go with. Oh, this is tough. There's no right answer. I think I'm gonna drop Final Fantasy 7 actually, which is crazy.
Okay.
I
All
thought I was
right.
gonna go with it at first, but
Hmm.
I like the fixed camera aspect
Hmm.
of that. But 8 and 9 still have that experience, and
Right.
10, I just think it's a really special entry where it's like that early 2000s switch over into 3D with the
Hmm.
voice acting, but it still has the real time or it still has the turn-based battles.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna cop 10 and drop 7, which is crazy, but
Okay.
I'm doing it.
Okay. All right. No, I really like your approach. I especially like how you're thinking about this very holistically because you're literally like, I'm gonna drop 7. I can still play 8 and 9. You didn't say anything about 8 and 9. And I mean you're
Correct.
right, I didn't. But yeah,
Correct.
I guess hey, why not, right?
Why
Um
not?
very, very interesting though. 10 for well, I'll be honest. Final Fantasy for me, this is gonna be a hot take. Final Fantasy to me has done nothing but supply characters to Kingdom Hearts. Next up. What are
Ooh,
you copying and what are you dropping? We've got Sly Cooper and the
ooh,
Thievius Raccoonus.
yeah.
We've got
Ooh,
Sly 2, Band of Thieves, and we've got Sly
oh,
3, Honor Among Thieves. You can only pick one, so technically you got to drop 2 in this scenario.
we haven't talked about this at all.
Nope.
My
And
history
hopefully
with
you've
this.
played any of these. And if not, that's fine.
I'm obsessed with Sly Cooper.
Oh my god,
Well,
thank you.
yeah, I love Sly Cooper. And which is one of the reasons why I still play Sucker Punch games, just because like I just like
Mm-hmm.
Sucker
I
Punch.
know.
Um, I actually, this isn't too tough for me.
Okay.
I think my favorite, which isn't necessarily the best one, I think my favorite is number 2.
Okay.
I
Okay.
would cop 2. I think 3 is probably better, just like gameplay wise and everything. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just sometimes games when they come out in a certain time of your life or whatever, you just resonate with it.
Yeah.
And 2 is just a fun expansion of the first one. The first one's
Mm-hmm.
good. All of these are good. I like all of these.
Yeah.
But 2 is like that nice in between where it's like they improved a lot on the original
Mm-hmm.
experience,
Mm-hmm.
and I love the little trio they got there going. And
Yeah.
so I would go 2.
All
Yeah, I'm
right.
gonna cop 2.
Right on. That is fantastic. You know, man, I'm gonna keep coming back to this, but we are so cut from the same cloth.
I think so, yeah.
I actually didn't ask you about this. I
No.
only included it because, of course, Ghost is sort of
Hmm.
the topic of today's show, and of course, Sly Cooper is Sucker Punch's roots. But I am a huge Sly Cooper fan. Sly Cooper, fun fact, this is deep lore for me. One of the only things I have ever taken a stab at. I don't want to call it fanfic, but writing fanfic
Oh,
about.
I'm interested. Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
not
Yeah.
fanfic in a sort of
Sure.
novelized sense or anything like that, but fanfic in a sense that Sony put out that god awful trailer of the 3D movie for Sly Cooper they were going to make, and I
Yeah.
believe has since been canned.
Yeah.
And when
Yeah.
they did that, I threw my hands in the air and said Sly Cooper is ripe for a TV show, and I took a stab at writing a script.
Okay. You
So
wrote like a screenplay or a pitch,
yes,
like a,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. Now, did I ever finish that? No. Do I still have it?
Wow.
Yes.
How many,
Um,
subscriptions until you release
to,
it?
to release the Sly Cooper
Yeah.
draft.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's going to take a lot. But
Yeah.
anyways, maybe when I finish it, I'll release
Okay.
it.
Okay.
But no, for real, I actually think that Sony is sitting on a couple different IPs that they could very
Yeah.
easily turn into really good if the right crews are behind them and everything. TV shows, and I'm a big fan of animated shows.
Mhm.
Gravity Falls is one
Oh
show
yeah.
that I absolutely love that I always go back to because of how well it did the I mean, everyone says this about a lot of shows nowadays, but how well it did the this is a kids show, but it's really for adults, or adults can
Yes.
really watch it and they will pick up on things that kids don't.
Yes.
And I think the creator behind that I think his name is Alex Hirsch, and I want to see him make Sly Cooper, because I think
Okay.
Sly Cooper is so ripe for all the little seeds of, the Fiendish Five from the very first one being run by Clockwork. He's kind of in the background at all times. He's kind of orchestrating things. There's just so many good nuggets in this series, and also uh, in Sly 2, like one of the most real endings to a video game ever, where literally, spoilers for Sly 2, a what 20-year
Yeah,
old
that's
game.
old. Yeah,
Um,
20 plus, I think.
but
Yeah.
one of the characters, Bentley, the little turtle
Mhm.
that you see on the cover there, literally gets his legs crushed, and in the next game, he's in a wheelchair. Like
Yes.
that is
Yes.
that is some serious shit right there that you
Yes.
don't see in a lot of rated E or E10 plus
It's
games, right?
intense. Yeah.
And it's because they were anthropomorphized animals, right? So nobody really thinks that it's that serious. But anyways, yeah, I love these games.
You like
Uh,
two? Did
and
that pick
yes, I
good?
think for
Okay.
me, two would probably be my pick as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the Sly Cooper series suffers a little bit from the original Spyro trilogy syndrome, where the second game was the best, and then they said,
Yeah.
let's up the ante.
Right.
And they did do that. It does improve on a
Yes.
lot of things, but it also, in improving on those things, it kind of detracts from what made the game special. And
Exactly.
in a lot of ways, it's those introduced characters. Hey, you had 3 playable characters. Now you're going to have 7. And it's like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
okay, but that makes it a little less special to be with those main 3. Anyways, this isn't about Sly Cooper, but I'm
Hey.
I'm glad that I could rant and rave about it
Oh
with
yeah.
someone who cares.
Yeah. I still own the copies and everything, the physical copies. So
Yep, me too. I
yeah.
have I've played through the first 2 with my 7-year-old, and we
Oh
got partway through the third, but not all the way.
yeah.
Anyways, so all right. Next up, we're getting to the end here.
Okay. Okay.
We've got the
Okay.
entire Sly Cooper collection.
Mhm.
You can probably predict what the next one's going to be. Against the Infamous collection.
It's just- For me, it's not even close. It's Sly
Okay.
Cooper. I'm copping Sly
Okay.
Cooper.
Okay.
Um, I just like. Well, I play a variety of games, so
Sure.
from action games, shooters, everything, platformers, whatever. I just love 3D platformers, and so
Okay.
to me, like, and like I said, I was mostly a Nintendo fan. So then when I got into
Right.
PlayStation and then Sly, I'm like, okay, it
Mm-hmm.
feels familiar, right? It's almost like a little bit
Mm-hmm.
like a Nintendo game, and so I always will kind of gravitate towards like that kind of thing.
Fair enough.
But you know, not knocking Infamous too, though. That's it's. I could see how people would pick that. Probably more people would pick that, honestly.
Yeah.
But I gotta go with Sly.
Okay. Fair enough. And you know what? Honestly, I have a lot of love for the Infamous games. I was a huge fan of them both. The second one, leagues better than the first. The first one, definitely like rough around the edges, kind of
Yeah,
an Assassin's Creed 1 to Assassin's Creed
yeah,
2
yeah.
kind of jump.
That's a
Um,
good, good
excuse me.
example.
But I also think, looking back, I think Infamous hit at the time, and I don't think it would necessarily hit as well now. And also, just for me being, the age I am versus the age I was when I was playing, when I was playing Infamous, I wanted that gritty, that angry, that,
Yeah,
bald protagonist with his electric shock wacky thing, whatever that thing is, cattle prod or whatever it is. Um, I wanted all that, whereas nowadays I'm like, no, give me all the colors, give me these
yeah.
anthropomorphized animals, give me a sexy fox lady, all that stuff, right? So I think I'm with you. I think it's going to be Sly.
I think there's aspects of Infamous. Well, two for sure, but like even with one, like there's some things that hold up, but I think overall Sly holds up better
Yeah.
anyway. Like just in general. So
Hmm.
like Infamous definitely feels like more of a product of its time, like a little
Yeah.
dated to that. But I definitely understand the love for it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Now, I mean, I could be wrong. Let me pull up something else here. I think that brings us to the end of our little game here.
Hey, that was fun.
It does indeed. So with that, I hope, I'm glad you had fun.
Yeah,
I I like that game a lot because I think it's just an easy way to bring up a lot of different topics here, a lot of different
yeah,
games, things like that, and get into the weeds. So
that's good.
now, with that said, I do have one other thing that I wanted to give you a chance to talk about. Do you want to talk about your, and I mean, if you don't want to talk about it, just say so. Do you want to talk about your sweets and treats Instagram
Oh,
here?
a plug. You want the plug?
Yeah, that's
What
right.
he's referring to is because I have a lot of I have a lot of things going on. Which one are you referring to? I actually have two, which is funny.
You have two.
Yeah,
Uh,
kind of.
okay, I was referring to the one where you reviewed this very
Yeah.
drink that I
There
have
you
right
go,
here.
which is so this is my side project. So this is called High Score Bites. So I have High Score Weekly and I have High Score Bites where I decided to do like food and snack reviews. So he was holding up a Lonnie Witch's Brew energy drink, which
That's right.
I think that was one of the first ones I did on there.
It was.
And so I started doing because I didn't know where to put it because I like to just try new snacks and stuff when they come out and I didn't really know like I have a lot of different kinds of accounts, and so I have my gaming one, but I was like, I don't know if it really fits there. Kind of does sometimes, like fast food and junk food sometimes
Sure.
fits in with gaming, Mountain Dew or whatever, Doritos.
Right.
And so I just decided to just make a new one. What's funny is it was originally going to be kind of just like a low key for fun secret one, but I think I
Mhm.
accidentally like interacted with it or something, and then it just spread out to everyone that like knew me, and they're like, "What? Do
Okay.
you have like another account?" I was like, "Oh, there, cat's out of the bag." So yeah, it's called High Score Bites. And so if you like trying new regional snacks, junk food, really anything, I do like little quick reviews. I try to keep it like under a minute, real fast, just like
Mhm.
30, 45 seconds. So
Right
yeah.
on. Well, I wanted to bring it up specifically because I mean, again, I just when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is my kind of content. And then,
Yeah.
of course,
Okay.
you reviewed the Witch's Brew and what's the other one? Pumpkin cream, Alani pumpkin
Yeah, the
cream.
pumpkin cream one is new this year.
And I mean, first of all, I'm a big fan of Alani. We are an
Yeah,
Alani
I
household,
like them.
that's for sure. Um, but you also inspired me because
Oh, okay.
I have since watching your review, I believe you gave the Witch's Brew like a 7 out of 10 or
I
something
think
like
so.
that.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, man, this is a 4 out of 10. This thing is
Oh.
garbage. I have
Oh.
since
Hey.
realized I need to try an Alani flavor minimum 3 times before I
Ah.
render a verdict. Because the
Okay.
first time, I'm never high on it. The second time, it's like, this is better than I thought. And then the third time, I feel comfortable making an assessment. I don't know why, but that initial taste of an Alani, for some reason, I don't tend to be a big fan of. The exception being the pink slushy, which is the best flavor. Anyways,
I go with Cosmic, whatever it's called, Cosmic something,
is that the
or
purple one?
yeah, the purple one.
It's my wife's favorite.
It's a very strong flavor. I just
It
like it.
is.
And then I like the Orange Kiss one, which is like a
That's a good
tropical
one
kind
too.
of orange one.
Yeah, yeah.
But what's funny is I think I know what you're talking about because when I reviewed that one, I still think Witch's Brew is one of my favorite flavors, but
Okay.
I think I gave it like a 7 because I felt like maybe
Mhm.
last year was better. But then like I had a couple more because I found a case,
Right.
and I think if I redid it, it would be more of an 8 or a 9 because
Okay.
it did taste better the more I drank it.
Very
So you might be
interesting.
onto
Yeah,
something. Like your
yeah.
body has a build of tolerance or
I
something.
legitimately, I think that could be it because, yeah, I mean, I remember in your review, we can move on from this in a second, but
Well,
in your review, I remember you saying it's a lot more of the green apple flavor than it is
yeah,
caramel. And to
yeah,
me, I don't want the green apple flavor. I want more of the
yeah, yeah.
caramel. I'm a
And that's what I
like
was thinking.
I love butterscotch. I love caramel. I
Yeah.
love those
Mhm.
topping flavors. But I'm never reaching for a green apple. But anyways, it's grown on
But
me.
yeah, check out the channel, High Score Bites. I
That's right.
haven't posted a little bit recently, but I pre-made like 10 or 15 that I'm gonna start posting again.
Oh,
I
okay.
had some stuff going on personally that prevented me, but I'm kind of back at it now. So yeah, check it out if you like that kind of stuff.
Right on. That's
Yeah.
awesome. All right. Well, with all of that said, all of that out of the way,
Okay.
let's dive into our main topic here. Of course, Ghost of Yotei, the latest entry in the Ghost series, developed by Sucker Punch Productions, first party Sony studio. I'm gonna try and share my screen here and play the trailer at the same time. If everything lags out for a minute, if you suddenly can't hear me, I'll stop sharing the screen while it plays because it might just be too much for my PC. We'll see here. Give it a sec. There it is. There it is. We got no sound, correct? I don't want sound playing. Trailer might be a little twitchy.
I don't hear anything, so I think you're good.
Okay, we're good. We're good. Yeah. So let's kick this thing off. For you audio listeners out there, of course, you can see the trailer playing. No, not for you audio listeners. For you viewers, you can see the trailer playing. For audio listeners, the trailer's playing. Just picture it in your head. Um, I think the easiest starting place here with you, Josh. What's your history with Ghost of Tsushima? Of course, the first entry in this, I guess you could call it a franchise now.
Yeah, so when Ghost of Tsushima came out, um, I so it with games in general, because there's so many games and a lot of them are long games. I kind of gave up on trying to beat every game. Okay. Now, of
Okay.
course, like when you're making content, and especially if you're doing review, I don't do tons of game reviews, but obviously,
Mhm.
like you need to complete a game. I think if you're going to review it, but um, but I kind of gave up on trying to beat every game, especially like new releases. Sometimes, like it's just hard to keep up with. And so when
Mhm.
Ghost of Tsushima came out, I did have some interest because again, we talked about Sucker Punch and stuff. So this is so interesting, like coming from them.
Mhm.
And so, I gave it a try. And I don't it wasn't like that there was anything that was like, oh, this is terrible or anything. It's just like
Mhm.
it kind of didn't grab me through like a couple like the first few hours I played it and then I can't remember exactly what it is. Some other game or whatever just pulled me off of it and then I just
Right.
never really went back to it. And so of course I would like watch streams of it or like this or that, but I just myself I never got past the first few hours and there's not really any like specific reason other than just kind of like sometimes when you play a good game and it's like the next day, it's like all you can think about is wanting to play that again.
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
didn't really have that for me. And
Okay.
so I just never really had the time to revisit it either. And so that's kind of it, honestly, as far as my Ghost of Tsushima like history. It's not like I'm not someone who like platinumed it or did
Right.
all these things with it. So
Okay.
what about you
Very
though?
very interesting. For
Yeah.
me, it's funny because apparently I have again, I'm a big fan of Sucker Punch games.
Yeah.
I love the Sly Cooper games. I love the Infamous games. And yet, with both Infamous and Ghost of Tsushima, I did not pick them up on day one. I actually
Okay.
waited like quite a while. Even though I was interested, even though I thought it looked good and cool and everything, just something at the time wasn't grabbing me, so I didn't pick it up. And then fast forward, I think with Ghost, it was actually like, oh, you know what it was? It was once they put it out with upgrades for PS5. So
Ah, okay. Well, so
I
this
think
is somewhat
it was
recent. Yeah,
was it a
like,
PS4 game?
recent.
Must have been.
Yes, yes. I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah, it must have been shortly after PS5 launched or something like that.
Mhm.
I picked it up and I just kind of fell in love with it. I think
Okay.
before that, I was a little burnt out on the open world thing.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that's the big thing for me was just don't try and get into it when you're in a place where you're not going to enjoy it. Because I
Yeah.
wanted to enjoy it, and you can obviously see the quality behind it at the very least, even if you aren't a fan of it. So that's kind of where I came from with Ghost of Tsushima. Now, going into Ghost of Yotei, obviously we both picked it up
Yeah.
on
Mhm.
day one.
Yeah.
Uh, Quite literally the second, or close enough to when it was available. Um, so I want to know, so far, how much Yotei have you played? Do you have an
Well,
estimate on hours or anything like that?
yeah, I have that. About 4.5 hours, so still
Okay.
early, but, this is interesting. I didn't talk to you about this either. So, one of the this is kind of funny because. Just like you, how you didn't pick up Ghost of Tsushima until, like, later.
Hmm.
I didn't watch too much stuff about Ghost of Yotei
Okay.
because I guess of my lack of interest of Ghost of Tsushima. But I did watch, like, some of the state of play kind of things, right?
Hmm.
And immediately the premise was way more interesting to me of this.
Hmm.
One of my favorite Assassin's Creed game is actually Origins,
Okay.
and so immediately kind of gave me that vibe of like the revenge, all samurai things kind of revenge, but you know what I mean. You're like
Yeah.
tracking down these specific figures. I'm kind of into that. I was like, ooh, this is already like I like the vibe and the tone of this,
Right on.
and but I think because there's other stuff. I'm playing Silent Hill F right now, so there's some other
Okay.
stuff going on that I was gonna hold off on picking this up immediately.
Hmm.
But then this kind of thing we start talking about maybe me coming on here, and then I was like, well, why not? I'll just give it a try. Like launch night, launch
Right.
nights are always fun anyway for anything really, and so I give it a try. Another thing, this is the part I didn't really mention to you, which is kind of cool. Um, so the setting, Ghost of Tsushima, obviously it's
Hmm.
in, more southern Japan, like an island.
Hmm.
And Ghost of Yotei takes place in Yotei, which is the older. period term for what is modern day Hokkaido. My family's actually from Hokkaido. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so immediately I was actually kind of another thing that piqued my interest
Hmm.
more. So right, my grandma grew up there, was born there,
Wow.
and so I still have family over there. And so what's cool is the lore. I'm going to give you your podcast a little bit of the lore, which is this is what was told to me by my grandmother, who's
Hmm.
no longer with us, unfortunately, but she told me one of her ancestors was a because her maiden name is like a common Tokyo area kind of name,
Hmm.
and she was explaining the reason that they our family is in Hokkaido is because during this kind of shogunate period,
Hmm.
one of her ancestors was samurai, and there was people trying to like a clan or ronin or whoever mercenaries
Hmm.
were trying to get him,
Wow.
and he got on a horse and just rode as far north as he could,
No kidding.
crossed over into Yotei,
Yeah.
which is Hokkaido, and just set up over there. So what's
Wow.
immediately like what drew me to this game is kind of that's almost like the concept of this game too, because
Yeah.
people have done that in this game.
Yeah.
And so it's while playing first couple hours, I'm already like not self-inserting, but like just
Hmm.
kind of it kind of puts me into like that family history of like this is sort of like
Right.
some of these people dealing with these political things is like kind
Yeah.
of allegedly what according to my grandmother, like
Hmm.
sort of what one of my ancestors actually physically went through in that same area. So I'm definitely like really enjoying that and locked in from that perspective.
That's really cool. That like
Y-
I'm telling you, I got chills while you're saying that. That's so cool. Because yeah, I mean, well, for me, I've played about 10 hours now,
okay.
um, and uh, there's more of that too. Like you
Yeah.
come across a lot of people in the game. I mean, obviously, whatever, um, and a good number of them are like, where are you from or whatever, because they don't recognize the main character that you play as, and she will say, you know, I grew up here and then I went south and now I've come back and things like that. And a lot of them are like, we fled the south for here and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, and you can tell, like, and who knows? I mean, I'm sure this isn't necessarily this is probably not like a historical document, right? This is very cinematic, romanticized kind of. It's a samurai game,
mhm, mhm,
but at the same time, you can see how it's portrayed as this area being almost like a wild rural area,
mhm,
whereas you have all this political drama going down in southern Japan or more central Japan,
mhm.
and a lot of people just are like trying to just leave me alone, just keep me out of all this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because one of the notes I wrote down just while I was playing today, was something to the extent of what I wrote down was actually a question. It was, are we on the good side here or the
Yeah.
bad side here?
That's a good note. Yeah.
Because what you eventually see, and this doesn't really spoil anything, you eventually learn there's sort of two factions that are
Yes.
at war with one another. And one of them is I believe it's the Matsume clan.
I
I
I'd
could be
I'd have
pronouncing
to
that
look
wrong.
up, but yeah, it was like Matsune or something like that. Yeah.
And
Mhm.
they are the samurai, the shogun, that are trying to, for all intents and purposes, colonize the area. They are
Mhm.
coming in to, in their idea, lay down the law, but to provide law and order, right? They're building bridges and they're putting together infrastructure for the country. Whereas the other side, man, for some reason I'm blanking on all the names now, the Lord that you are fighting against. Um, Go ahead if you.
I didn't write it down. It was with a S.
It's Shinto's,
Satoi. No, Shinto's a religion.
yeah,
Satoi or something.
something like that. Anyways,
Yeah, you know.
point is, he is fighting, or his side is fighting against them to basically say, we don't want you here. We want to rule our own lands, do our own thing.
Yeah,
And
he's
it's
type of
funny.
warlord, and the other clan is almost like
Yes,
a. You could compare to like a federalization almost, or something like
exactly.
that, right?
Exactly. They're more of a military police force
Yeah.
kind of thing. And I was a little bit like, well, you know, you're not against the police force. You are directly against the other side, right? Now, there are obvious motivations behind that. I mean, if you watch a single trailer for this game, you'll understand that. Um,
Yeah.
so I wrote down that note being like, are you siding with or against the rebellion? Because typically, the
That's a very
rebellion
good call.
is fighting
Yeah.
for their freedom.
And this, I'm only half the time, but I've already run across these kind of
Yeah,
themes, so
yeah.
it does hit you with it early. And
Hmm.
like you said, there's even some like little camps you can meet the Ainu
Yep.
people, which is like the
Yes.
native indigenous people.
Hmm.
And actually, stuff like Zelda Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, a lot of the ancient guardian type symbology and stuff is based kind of on the Ainu original like
Oh, okay.
Japanese inhabitants. Yeah, like
Right.
that kind of art style and stuff. And so I thought that was interesting too that they're kind of represented in this as well.
Saito. It's Lord
Yeah,
Saito. That's what it
Saito.
is.
There you go. Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, that's really another good point is that you do come
Yeah.
across those, you know, I mean, for us or for,
Hmm.
me, a Canadian, you come across
Yeah.
those Native American tribes.
Yeah.
They're
It's like
obviously
that.
not
It's the
Native
same. It's
American, Native
equivalent, right?
Japanese tribes,
It's
but
the
yeah,
equivalent though. Yeah.
yeah. So, very, very cool stuff there. Now, I mean, we're kind of starting with the story here. Um,
Hmm.
Obviously, you're a little earlier on than I am. I would say, in terms of story development, I haven't even gotten that far either. I did try and do a couple of the sort of Golden Path uh,
Yeah.
missions and things like that so that I could talk about it a little bit. But even still, almost 10 hours in, I'm not very far. And I think a part of that is because the simple act of moving from one place to the
Oh
other,
yeah.
you just, uh, it's tough because I think one of the main criticisms of Tsushima was that the open world is beautiful but empty. And I
Hmm.
really find that it feels the same, but it always feels like I'm coming across something, which I guess kind of implies that it's not the same. How do you feel about the open world nature from what you've seen so far?
I had that experience as well because typically I've had to change my playstyle. I love meandering. I have
Me too.
300 hours in Skyrim. I've never beat it. I didn't even do the first mission in Skyrim. Like I got the first Dragon Shout and that's it. And then I do like the Assassin's Guild, the Thieves Guild, like all that stuff.
Mm-hmm,
I've
hmm.
never touched the main storyline, so I
Right.
just wander around, do things. I've in recent times I've had to change my playstyle. So
Hmm.
like Expedition 33, for example, I haven't done a lot of the side stuff because if I knew if I want to finish it, I needed to just hit the golden path, hit
Yeah.
beeline through the storyline. But with this, because I knew I had a limited time to play and we were going to discuss it tonight, I actually tried to go back to my roots and just wander around a little more so I could get a little bit of
Hmm.
experience of like different things. And I actually found the same thing like what you're talking about, which is it surprised me how many I wouldn't call them game mechanics, but how many like little different types of gameplay elements are introduced in like
Hmm.
side quests and missions.
Hmm.
Like maybe you're helping someone who's being attacked by bandits and then he gives you like a special piece of armor, or
Hmm.
maybe I met this guy by this tree and challenged him to a duel, and then they're like,
Mm.
oh, actually he's part of this secret cult where
Hmm.
there's like a duel master and you got to find all these duelists and stuff. Oh,
Yep.
that's cool. And then I'm over here and it's like you're saying, it's like a constant, it has that Breath of the Wild feel where like
Hmm.
you can see far, but like as soon as you go over the next hill, there's like this thing here. Here's a
Hmm.
shrine here. Here's this little quest to do,
Hmm.
and none of it feels like it's not just like go kill 10 bandits kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all like feels very natural, and it still has that cinematic kind of quality to it,
Hmm.
which I really like. So it feels like it's part of the story, or like woven. It almost feels like is this is this the main quest or is it like
Hmm.
is it the side quest? I did some bounties too. You can pick
Yep.
up bounties. And even some of those are really cool because it wasn't just a straight, I think one is a, I'm not trying to spoil it, but it's like one of the first bounties is like you're looking for this guy. I thought it was just be like you see a guy standing, it's like any game. You pick up a
Hmm.
bounty and you just go see the guy and then you just go fight him. But it was almost like he laid like a trap, like he laid like
Hmm.
a little campsite for you, and you're like, "What do I do?" And you're like having to like almost like play mind games with him to like trick him. So I was like, "Man, this game has like a lot of little different ways to experience the gameplay, if
Hmm.
that makes sense."
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally hear you. And it's also funny because in some of that freedom, if you're paying attention, you can also see um, where you were meant to do or find certain things. Um, there was something that I did that I actually don't want to spoil because it is a story beat.
Sure.
And I experienced it, but I experienced it sort of through the background. So I'll talk loosely here. I overheard two characters having a
Oh,
conversation. And then later on, I saw that conversation in a cutscene. And it was the exact same lines, the exact same characters. And it was a little bit like, if I weren't paying as close attention as I am, I wouldn't have even noticed. But because I'm noticing this, I think I experienced this out of sequence. I don't think I was meant to
Wow.
hear what I heard when I heard it.
Interesting.
I think I was supposed to experience this other part first and
Yeah.
then come across that. But
Hmm.
it made no real impact to the game or
Yeah.
anything like that. It was just interesting because I found that. Another example is there's a mini game, a gambling mini game. Which, have you gotten to this yet?
I haven't got there. Yeah.
I must have spent 45 minutes playing it today. It was bad. I was like, am I addicted to gambling here?
I already know. I can already tell you I'm going to be playing that.
I
I
I
already know.
started it with about 1,000. I think the currency is called Mon. I started
Mon,
with
yeah, Mon.
1,000 Mon. I got up to like 1,700 and was like, okay, I'm just going to play till I get above 2,000. And then I just kept dropping and then going back up and dropping and going back up, drop. And I finally got past 2,000. I was like, okay, I got to go now. I
That's
literally
so
had to
funny.
take my kid to swimming lessons. So,
Yeah.
anyways, but what I was going to say was there's a tutorial for that mini game, that gambling game, that you come across in a sort of story beat, but you didn't have to do that part of the story beat. I'm talking loosely here to avoid spoilers.
Yeah.
Um, and later on, I came across a place that is literally called a gambling den. And of course, you can play the game there as well. And when you first step up to the table, it presents you with an option, learn how to play. And I was like, well, I already know how to play. I'm a
Yeah.
pro at this. Watch me.
He's a hustler. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
But again, that was just another instance of I kind of had this thing in my brain go, oh, some people might be experiencing this before what I thought was
Yeah.
the tutorial, right?
That's
So,
interesting.
anyways,
It's kind of that open world,
yeah,
maybe problem, but like where you can, the freedom sometimes causes
yeah,
you to kind of
yeah,
get out of,
yeah.
yeah.
Very, very interesting how they do that. Um,
Yeah.
anyways, yeah, I mean, again, story loosely seems intriguing. Like you say, some of these characters we're meeting, even side NPCs and things like that, seem. I just want to keep coming back to the word intriguing because it's a little bit like I want to see how they're going to build on it more. One thing that I'm really appreciating so far is literally if you look in your pause menu, and I'm not counting this as a spoiler because it's in your pause menu, you have a tab called the Wolfgang, and you can see it's kind of a portrait of characters. And as you start to meet more characters, their portrait on that uh, tab gets filled in, and it's
Hmm.
almost like this is your crew, right? It's the Mass Effect. This is
Yeah.
your gang,
Yeah.
your literal wolf gang. These are the
Yeah. Yeah.
people
Yeah.
that are sort of, we'll call them main characters that you're going to keep interacting with, that you're going to come back to for one reason or another. And I'm really liking that because in the first game, they had important side quest characters, but they didn't. I don't think they ever had anything like that. They didn't have anything to kind of bring it back to the player to directly say, this is someone important. Obviously you do the quest chain and you keep coming back to them. You're like, okay, yeah, I understand. I'm getting to know, I forget what her name was. The one character everyone talks about in Ghost of Tsushima was Lady something. And she went
Ah.
on this kind of revenge quest. Um,
Yeah.
but anyways, there's nothing to kind of put it in front of you like that. So I really appreciate that kind of improvement, I'll say. So
Yeah.
now moving on from sort of story side of things, one thing I really want to talk about that kind of ties into that menu I was just mentioning is just the presentation of this game, the
Hmm.
style behind everything,
Hmm.
the sort of brush stroke calligraphy theme that
Hmm.
it has in a lot of the UI, in the cards that come up, in the wanted posters in the world, as well as how that ties into some of the mechanics I'm finding really interesting. Um, what are your thoughts on that style, but also how they're kind of making you interact with that?
I love the style. And like you said, sometimes it opens even like with like he's talking about, it's like almost like a Okami looking, like a scroll with like
Mm,
brushwork, like
yes.
cinematic, like
Yeah.
showing you like little pictures of like drawings, um, then even after that opening, you interact with it more because like sometimes there'll be normal like traditional cutscenes with the characters, but sometimes they'll present it in a story form, like with these drawings.
Hmm.
One of them, you it's just one of these side characters you meet, almost like a bard like character, a storyteller character.
Right.
It does that presentation, but it almost has like this Japanese folk singing with it,
Hmm.
and it's just really cool. And so I love the presentation of it. Um, and you can even draw paintings yourself, like these little moments of reflection
Hmm.
where you you can draw little nature scenes with the trackpad on the PlayStation controller. And
Hmm.
so um, I really like the overall presentation of that, and all the menus, like you're talking about, like the little cards. Sometimes when you're questioning people, even if it's just like a random enemy, sometimes you'll question them about these
Right.
people you're hunting, and a little painted card will like come up telling you like that information's been updated, and I just love like that whole style. It's
Hmm.
great.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's been a lot of fun so far. Now you touched on the painting.
Yeah.
I I struggle to say I enjoy the touchpad stuff. I don't hate it,
Oh.
but when it first came up, I did shake my head. I did pull a are we still doing this? Are we still doing this? It is in the year of our Lord 2025. We're still whatever scribbling our finger on the touchpad,
Scribbling.
sucker punch. Like I remember when the PS4 came out and launched, I think it was
Hmm.
about 6 months after launch. Infamous Second Son came out, and they had
Hmm.
like you were Delson Rowe, you were edgy, you were a graffiti artist, and you had to shake the controller, and the
Yeah,
noise
yeah, yeah,
inside the
yeah,
controller went click, 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 click,
yeah,
like a
yeah.
can of spray paint.
Yeah.
But then you literally had to use the like trackpad to spray things, and there were times where you had to scan your thumbprint in it, and
Hmm.
like that was cool, but like it was cool like 2 or 3 times, you know. And then it got to be a nuisance. So, what are your thoughts on those, and how are you liking the? I'll call them gimmicks because I mean, they are. If you even if you like them, they're gimmicks.
I'll call them gimmicks too. We'll call it gimmicks for the
Okay.
purpose of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love this stuff. This is one of the things I want to talk about most, almost, because um, look, like I said, this is a recurring theme here. Grew up Nintendo. And I'm like I'm playing Skyward Sword with the motion controls. I'm playing
Okay.
Twilight Princess with the motion controls. I like goofy little motion control things. Wii Sports obviously was like huge, but you know what I mean.
Hmm.
But Nintendo is always guilty of like introducing, even Sony, like you said, PS4 had the little trackpad, but
Hmm.
maybe some launch games try to do something with it, and then everyone gives up. Even
Yeah.
like the 3DS, right? The 3DS came out and it was like this 3D console without the glasses. And then basically by the end of it, like no one's even, you can
Hmm.
buy 3DS without the
Yeah.
3D, and no one's even making games like that.
Literally a 2DS came out.
So I actually love it. It was a surprise to me because I didn't really
Yeah.
think about it. I should have known, right? Sucker Punch, but
Yeah.
it was surprised by how many little features, even from the very opening scene. Yeah, you're having to
Hmm.
like draw on like little names on the trackpad.
That's right.
Um, there's um, there's all these little mini games. Like there's a little forging thing where you have to like whack the hammer like down like this.
Yes. Yeah.
You can start a fire by like flicking like the
Flint,
flint.
striking the
And
flint
this
like
is
you're on
something
Survivor.
friend of the show, Jerica, who was on your show recently.
Hmm.
We're friends, and she told me recently she was digging around. She was playing last night, and
Hmm.
she told me she looked around the accessibility menu, and so normally in the starting the fire, you flick
I know exactly where this is going, and
yeah,
I
you
love it.
flick to start the flame, but
Yeah.
then you press R2 to like blow on the flame. Well, you can turn on manually where you
Hmm.
can blow on the controller to fan the flames. I'm definitely turning that on. And so this is the kind of stuff most people complain about. I know like a lot of people don't like this kind of stuff, so it doesn't surprise me that maybe you're not the biggest fan of this.
Yeah.
But I like when companies use the kind of hardware and
Right.
technology in interesting ways. And I don't know if it'll get old. We'll see. Like as it continues. So far, it seems like you said, it's a gimmick. It's only in there like a couple times, really. But you can barbecue like your little food and like move the controller
It's true.
around. It's so funny. So I actually love the. It just kind of breaks it up a little to me. I
Hmm.
actually have been enjoying it.
Now, don't get me wrong. It makes the first time it happened, I chuckled, and then I had to kind of shake my head, do a little bit of a face palm. But then as it keeps coming up, I keep doing it, and it makes me go, "This is neat." But it also makes me go, "How long is this going to be neat for?"
That's so funny.
One thing I found today is that in the menu, there is an option, like in the settings, there is an option that says something to the extent of skip after repeated interactions or
Oh.
something like that. And the description, because it shows you a description, actually says that it will start to skip those things as you've done them a number of times. So I'm not sure. Maybe you have to do it. Maybe it's just once, and then after that you get prompted and you can just hit circle to skip it or something. But maybe it's, once you've done it 3 or 5 times, it just automatically kind of jumps you through it, or again gives you that prompt or something. I actually did leave it toggled off, so I'm still doing it every single time. I'm still, roasting my mushrooms and then flipping them over. And
Okay.
I was actually playing today to see, like, if you like shove them right into the flames, do they actually burn? And again, I was
I
actually
didn't try that. Does it?
I was okay. Just try it. I'll just say try it with
Okay.
someone.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Okay. Ooh, yeah. Homework.
it made me laugh. What happened? I'll
I'll
say.
try it.
So,
Well,
anyways,
I like that they give you the option. For me, I want to do it like every time,
yeah,
probably like the little
yeah,
gimmicks, but I like that you can customize that
yeah.
accessibility, turn it on or off.
Hmm.
I'm also a sucker for games that have a dedicated button for sheathing or unsheathing your weapon.
Oh, good one. Yeah, yeah.
And so at least the trackpad lets you like swipe to access some
Hmm.
actions. And so like you can draw or, you know, sheathe your sword on
Hmm.
command. I
Hmm.
like that kind of thing. I think KOTOR is what got me into that because it had, I think, a
Okay.
Y button. You could
Yeah.
ignite the lightsaber or like turn it back off. And there's no
Yeah.
reason to do that. It's just cool to do.
It's
So the samurai game, sometimes I just like drawing the
yeah.
sword sometimes.
No, I totally hear you. I totally hear you. And
Yeah.
actually, one of my criticisms that I had of the game in my first few hours was that I can't manually sheath my sword.
Oh,
And
you
I,
figured it
I
out.
figured out, actually, yeah,
Okay.
you hold
Yeah.
R2 and then you press square and it makes you pull out your sword. Do the exact same thing. It makes you put your sword away. So,
It was like one of the first things I was looking for.
yeah,
I was like, I need to see how you can just like
pull it
take the
out, put
sword
it
out
away,
and put it
pull it out,
back.
put it away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. You can do
cool.
that with your shamisen too, which is very cool too. Yeah.
What is shamisen?
The little instrument.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Yeah, the one you
Yeah,
carry
which
on
is
your
cool. I
back.
like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
There's actually, this is kind of tangential, but in the menu again, there's display options where you can make it so the only thing that you display on your back
Oh,
is that.
I
So you
like
can
that.
set it to be your most recent weapon or your most recently used. You can set it to just be a default of just your katana, or you can set it to be just
These are great
the
tips.
musical instrument. Yeah,
I need to go in there and do that because
it was
I
cool.
was
Just
having to, because if I use my bow, it makes the bow, but I like having,
yeah,
it makes me feel like a wandering minstrel, just
yeah. Just you're like a
so
bard, right?
yeah,
Just walking
yeah.
around.
And so I would use the bow and then I would get the thing out just to have it back on my back. So that's good. I
That's
need to
funny.
go in there and
Yeah,
change that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Check it out. Check it out.
In a
Um,
something about a samurai game, or I do this in MMORPGs sometimes. I don't know if you have like town clothes or like battle clothes, but like, I like to, not that I'm like full into role playing, but like in an MMO, like I would have like, a certain outfit that I'm gonna walk up
I
in,
mean,
and so
you're
like,
you're going to
you know,
Stormwind. You got to put on your nice
yeah,
leathers.
see, you get it.
100%.
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts of Ghost of Tsushima and now Ghost of Yotei is the customization of the outfits. Just the fact that I can buy different robes and I can put different colors on them, and the hat is not tied to it,
Yes.
and there's a mask on top of that. I'm like, yes, I'm all about that. One of the first things I bought was every mask I could, and then every
Mhm.
headpiece that I could. I just, oh, I just love that. I'm like, hey, I'm in a wintry area. I got to be dressed in blue. I can't be wearing green in the snow. That doesn't make
Perfect.
sense.
Yeah, you get it.
Yeah. So
Amiibo brains.
apparently.
Yeah.
um, Now, okay, so we've talked a lot about the story. We've talked about, kind of the presentation and, maybe some of the gimmicks. How do you feel the combat is in terms of the actual, of course, fighting? Because for a lot of people, that's the main draw. You are,
Yeah.
this warrior samurai style. You've got your katana. You've got your, of course, again, I'm blanking on what all of the weapons are called. How many weapons have you got so far? I guess I should ask that.
Ooh. I only have a couple. I mean, I have the, like, you have to buy a bow at first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and then I just have well, I don't, some weapons might be a spoiler. There's,
Yeah, I guess if you
yeah,
can give me
anyway.
a count, maybe.
I've used this, I got a couple. I've used a couple. Um, One thing I will say though, I don't know if this is a hot take. Maybe it is. You know what? Because this is a samurai game. I was just feeling like,
Mm,
I mean, it's kind of a power fantasy game, I guess,
Mhm.
revenge game. I threw this thing on the easiest mode for combat.
Oh, okay.
I'm not someone who like. I know a lot of people like the challenge of like, I've played Elden Ring.
Mhm.
A lot of people like Souls like game. This isn't a Souls like, of course, but you know what I mean. A lot of people
Mhm.
like a very
Mhm.
challenging combat
Now
rich game.
it does have the parries, it does have the
Yeah.
dodges,
Oh yeah,
so
you can perfect parry. You can do all
yeah,
that kind
yeah,
of stuff.
yeah.
Um, but honestly, I put on the easiest thing,
Okay.
and it's just fun to just just
Fair
go
enough. Just
crazy.
slice through people. Yeah. It
And so I'm probably not the best to like judge the combat as far as like how balanced it is or whatever, because it's very imbalanced to me. It's not challenging whatsoever for me, but I'm
okay.
loving just walking up, dueling people, and just going crazy, and
Slicing
everyone's
through
just
them.
running from me.
Now, I in that same vein, I will say that Duels, obviously returning feature from Ghost of Tsushima, still one of the single best mechanics in
I
a
love it.
video game. So satisfying to be able to, take on mobs of guys and you chop through blah 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 blah. But then you get up to someone who isn't even necessarily a main character or anything like that. I guess
Yeah,
you could call them mini bosses if you want to,
yeah.
but there's so many of
Sometimes,
them they don't really feel like that. But you walk up to them and it's just one on one. The camera pulls in and it almost becomes this like fighting game sort of thing where it's almost on a 2D plane. Like obviously you can rotate around each other
yeah.
and things like that. But just so satisfying. Um, I was, I never thought they would get rid of that, but obviously one of the best features in this
What
series.
difficulty are you playing on?
So I'm playing on medium. So
Okay.
I believe it starts as casual and then easy, medium, and medium is the one it defaults to. Then there's like hard, legendary, and then whatever, like permadeath or
Yeah.
something like that. I'm sure. Um, so are you on the casual or
I
easy?
think so. I just went all the
Okay,
way down. I was
story
like, you know what?
story
I'm
mode
just gonna
basically,
go
but that's okay.
crazy.
That's
Because,
okay.
like I said, I don't want to drop off. I think this has captured my interest
Yeah,
already enough that like I'm gonna stick with it for a while. And so, um, I'm having a great time.
awesome. Well, good.
Yeah,
I'm glad to hear that because I mean I've got to admit,
yeah,
there's a lot of hate for Ghost of Tsushima. I think people either think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, or they think it was boring and empty and
yeah.
generic and things like that. And you see a lot of that online, right? I mean, in
Hmm.
certain discords, there's been a lot of talk about that,
Oh,
and as a lover of Ghost of Tsushima, I have mostly
yeah.
kept my mouth shut because
That's so funny.
I don't want to get bullied or anything like that. But anyways, I think this game does a lot of these. It kept a lot of the basics from Tsushima that, to me, made Tsushima great. Another one of them is the standoffs. When you walk into a group of enemies and you can press L1 to do the little standoff
I
where you kind of
also really love that too, because it's
so
not just
satisfying.
like you're walking up on people and it's just like chaotic. It's like
Mhm.
this moment of like tension, you know?
Who will flinch
Um,
first?
yeah, I
Yeah,
love it. And
yeah,
that's like that cool samurai factor, where you're just
hmm
kind of like walking up.
absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of samurai is like it's a genre, so
Hmm.
there's certain expectations you have, like tropes in a good way. There's certain things you're expecting. That's one of them. The
Hmm.
duels. It reminds me of like American westerns are kind of similar to.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of crossover with the genres.
There's there's one moment that's early on that I won't fully spoil it, but you get to a certain building
Mhm,
and you walk in. Hit the mic there. Sorry if that made a
mhm.
noise. You walk in and it's very saloon style.
Yes.
Walking into the bar. There's even
Yes.
There's this one shot that is just so cinematic where you, Atsu, the main character, you have your
Mhm.
head kind of tilted down. The brim of your hat is covering your eyes, but your hat is torn in
Yeah,
just
yeah,
this
yeah.
perfect spot. So you can just see Atsu's one eye peering out from under the brim, glaring into the bar. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is a Western. And even the music at the
For
moment is
sure. Yes.
so
Oh
perfect.
yeah.
It was very
For
good.
sure.
Now, is there anything else that you want to shout out that you are really enjoying? Anything else you want to glaze in the game?
Let's see. Well, besides the fun gimmicks, let's see. Let's
You're sitting
see.
there right now making your
Yeah, I'm like
fire.
ready. I'm like,
Yeah.
um, I really like the. I've been enjoying the movement, and I also like.
Okay.
I don't think this is much of a spoiler too much, but there's a mechanic in this. I like the presentation of how, like, obviously, like, they set up her backstory initially,
Hmm.
but there's a mechanic in this that lets you re-examine little flashbacks in a
Right.
way. And I think it's really well done to
Okay.
expand and to really, like, show a childlike version of her that you get used to, like, learn about, and then you kinda go back into the present time in this
Hmm.
hardened, revenge version,
Hmm.
and so you're seeing almost this full character arc with the middle missing. You're
Right.
seeing, the innocence aspect and then the hardened,
Right.
will do anything for vengeance aspect, and I actually really love how it's been presented in this game, where you learn about her past and the childhood and her upbringing, and
Hmm.
you're able to see that and interact with that in a really cool way, and then kind of also easily get back to
Hmm.
the present. It's really
Hmm.
cool.
It's actually it's funny that you bring that up because I have that basically that written down.
Ah, yeah.
Just saying memory thing. I guess it's not really a
Yeah,
spoiler. You kind of just described it.
it's
It's a
just a
memory thing.
thing.
Um,
Yeah.
and I wrote down it's interesting because I was iffy on it at first because of the childhood aspect of it. In most games, it's not fun when you have to downscale yourself to play a
Yeah.
past version or something like that, a watered down version of your current character. But I think they did a good job of implementing it so that it's seamless. Like you walk up and you
Oh,
do
yeah.
it. But also it still feels like you're playing as Atsu. You're just maybe a little bit
Mhm.
shorter kind of thing. But the things they have you doing are not, you're not going out there and chopping people up as a child. Right. So
Yes.
it works very well and makes a
It's
lot of
cool, and
sense.
I'm excited to see where that goes and how it plays into the story
Hmm.
more. I'm really interested in that because, like, obviously, again, it's a trope, it's a samurai thing, it's a revenge tale. It's like, okay, but what is it about her and her story specifically? And I think the way that they're telling that so far in the early couple first 4 hours that I played,
Hmm.
it's a good start to that, and I'm really
Right.
interested to see how that kind of carries on.
Nice. Nice. Now we're coming to the end of the show here.
Mhm.
Hold on for a little bit longer, listeners. I just want to know, what color horse did you pick?
Oh, this is a great. I was thinking about this today actually because I was like, man, oh man, this is so good. There's a point where you had like commandeered a horse,
Hmm.
and this plays into it too
Hmm.
because your character is kind of like, oh, I just want to keep this horse, and the person's
Hmm.
like, well, they've been through a lot,
Hmm.
like they're kind of that horse needs a rest. They're trying to tell you like, hey, it's better for the animal if
It's true.
you give it a rest.
Yeah.
But then when you go, because you get to choose a horse that will be permanent
Hmm.
and you talk or you, like, examine again, and it's like, "Well, this horse is very" you're trying to
It's like
convince yourself
we've
back
been
into, like,
through a
taking
lot
it again. I'm
together.
like, "Oh,
Yeah.
man, that made me, like, feel bad, like, I don't wanna
I
abandon it
know. I
if
had
it
the
wants
same
to be with
thing.
me."
Yeah.
But then the other 2 options, a
Is
nice looking dappled horse, and then there was a black horse as an
yeah.
option.
Yeah.
Um, I actually went with the black horse because it looked a little smaller, a little more nimble,
Okay.
and I don't regret it. I once I was riding around on it, it felt good, and, like, it did seem a little smaller. Maybe it just could be, I don't know, that might not be true, but it looked a little more agile when I was riding it, and I have an all black cat, so it just kinda reminded me of, like,
Uh,
an all black animal like that, just kinda reminded me of it, and so that's what I went with, the all black horse.
I made the same choice as you.
There you go.
I also have a black cat as well. Now,
Hey, see?
that's not why I picked it. I just yeah, I just kind of went back and forth. Really, for me, it was coming down to, do I stick with tried and true, the horse I started this game with, uh, for the reasons you talked about, right? Atsu very much is like, I don't need a horse. I love my horse. This is
Yeah.
for all intents and purposes, this is
Yeah,
the
it made
only
me feel
family
bad.
Atsu has.
Mhm. Yeah.
At least it's implied that that's the case, right?
Yeah.
And she does, yeah. You walk up to select the horse, and she kind of says, "This is my horse. Like this is my ride or die. Literally my ride." and so you do feel a pull to it, but I also chose the black horse.
I
Do you,
felt really good though, because then after they're like he's like, "But don't worry, I'll just
mhm. He's
you
like, "I'll
can
keep it
visit
safe." Yeah,
anytime," and
yeah,
then she's like, "Well, feed it all the
yeah,
wildflowers,"
yeah.
it's like, "Okay, okay, it's okay."
Totally, totally. Do you know what? Do you recall what you named it?
Ooh, um, I think it was the one that was like fire or something
Okay,
like that.
okay, yeah, yeah. That
Yeah,
was one of the choices. I think
yeah,
might have been like flame or something like that in
yeah,
Japanese.
flame.
I chose Mochizuki, which is full moon. and mostly because of the black nature of the horse, black like night kind of thing. So yeah. Anyways, I think the final thing that we should probably jump into here, any drawbacks, anything that you're not enjoying, anything you might be hoping to see further developed in the game.
Um, I think something I was chatting about a little bit earlier was it is a little weird. Some of the NPCs are a little bit goofy looking. Um,
Yep.
and I'm not, again, Nintendo fans. I'm used to like playing a generation behind graphic fidelity,
Hmm.
essentially.
Hmm.
So, whatever. It's not like a deal breaker for me, but sometimes it looks so good, especially Atsu herself. Every scene with her looks so good.
Hmm.
And then sometimes you'll be interacting with someone and it's just like a little odd. Like it looks off. Like so it doesn't look quite like fully animated or something. Sometimes their animation like
Hmm.
is a little bit off, but it's not all of them. That's what's weird too. Like
Yeah.
some of the main side characters look great too. So it's like it's a little bit disjointed, I
Hmm.
feel like. I don't know if they can patch that or what, but it's a little weird. Um but I'm not like I don't think it's not that big of a deal, honestly. Um Other than that, I I'd be curious like to see it's hard to know because it's like a little early on, but I got some information already of like where the next maybe people I need to like search out are.
Mm.
But what I'm having like a hard time of like deciding as like just as a player is like it feels like if I because sometimes I like want to try to do things in like a unorthodox order
Hmm.
because like they're giving me freedom, so let me try to do
Hmm.
it in like a different order. But sometimes I feel like they're trying to get you to pick a certain path because of like how
Right.
it's laid out. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
well, this one's here and the next one's up here.
Do the one in
So
between
then,
first.
yeah, I'm having a hard time like because I want to do the further one, but I don't know. Am I going to just be passing through that like other
Right.
other one to do that? So I think that's more on me, I guess. Really, it's not necessarily like the game design, but I'm curious. I'm gonna attempt it like
Yeah.
later. That's the next thing I'll do. I'm gonna try to go like to the further one and just see how that plays out. Because I'm curious, like, is it really open or is
Hmm.
it? I mean, you might have insight on that. Is it really open or is it like kind of guiding you along like a sort of a path?
That is, I learned after the fact. That's exactly how I wound up in that situation where I
Yeah,
saw
you
the
mentioned
cutscene
yeah,
after having
exactly.
experienced the moment. Did it ruin anything? Did it
No,
really change anything? No. I'm sure they probably gate you enough where the major beats happen at a very specific time. For me, it was more like I experienced something and then later on I did something else. And I think that was the trigger for here's a cutscene where you now hear something you already heard.
that's so
And
funny.
so, anyways, yeah, I think they give you the freedom that you can do that. I would be curious, like you're saying, how much it shows its seams if given the freedom that they're giving you, kind of thing. So, yeah, I couldn't agree with you more though. The NPCs can be a little jank sometimes. It's very infamous style where hey,
Yeah.
random person on the street that I'm grabbing a quest from that's talking at me. It's not really they're just kind of stiff
Yes.
bodied. They might move
Yeah.
a little, they might
It's kind
sway
of
a little, but
strange.
it feels
It's
very like
surprising.
PS3. So yeah,
Yeah, it was very surprising to me because like everything else was like, man, this looks incredible,
yeah,
and you could see the little peach fuzz hairs like
yeah.
on her skin. I was like,
Hmm.
wow, this is like really high fidelity. And then it'd be like, whoa,
Yeah.
who's
Here's three
that?
generic NPCs that
Whoa,
don't look great. So
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But that's a small quibble. I think gameplay wise,
True.
story so far, present the music. We didn't even talk about that. The music
Yeah,
is incredible so far. I
absolutely.
love it. It's very ambient, but
Hmm.
just so fitting, epic. Like
Hmm.
I use the word cinematic a lot, but this is like it's like a samurai movie you're playing, right? A
Yeah,
Kurosawa film or something. So
yeah.
it's like it got that cinematic, traditional Japanese music like you would be expecting. So
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm really into it so far.
Yeah, yeah. Fair enough. Well,
Yeah.
let's bring it all to a conclusion here.
Yeah.
Will you spend your 5 to 9 after your 9 to 5 with Ghost of Yotei?
Yes, right now I'm sold.
Perfect.
Thanks to you, I guess. I probably wouldn't have picked this up if I wasn't going to be right here on this show in this moment. I probably would have missed out for like a year at least, just waiting for like Game of the Year to remaster. I don't know.
PS6 version.
Yeah, I'm glad I picked this up. And I'm really glad to have been able to discuss this with you. So thanks for having me as well.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I'm fully with you. There was never really a doubt in my mind that I was going
Yeah.
to spend my time with this. I'm glad that you feel justified in your purchase, because if you had picked it up just to be on the show
Well,
and then you weren't enjoying it, I would have felt bad. But
I think
hopefully
it's good
it
for the
continues.
viewers because, like, you're someone, not to say you're biased, but you really enjoyed Ghost of Tsushima.
Sure.
But at least they could see for me, like, it didn't
Hmm.
grab me, but this one really has. So there's something
Yeah.
there. There's something
Good
there.
point. Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Of course, that's our thoughts on Ghost of Yotei. I'm sure we'll do check-ins later on. Maybe as I complete the game, it's going to take me a while for sure.
Yeah, me too.
I only have so much time, but maybe as
Legit.
I complete it, I'll check in with Josh and find out his
Yeah.
final thoughts, find out how much farther he's gotten at that point. Um, but this has been Sunset Selects, of course, a grow up, level up presentation. Um, this is a weekly podcast where we come to you every week to talk about what games, movies, and everything else you should be spending your 5 to 9 after your 9 to 5 with. Of course, our regular host, Samson, is away, but he'll be back in a couple of weeks. For now, you'll be enjoying my sweet voice. I'm Jordan at Sir Dr. JM. You can find me on all socials at Sir DRJM. Where can people find you, Josh?
Yes, I'm Josh. High Score Weekly on everything, pretty much. Most platforms are just High Score Weekly, and High Score Bites for for the junk food
Love
one.
it.
So check it out. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's close out the show here, Josh. Do you have any words of wisdom you'd like to leave the people with?
Yeah. You know what? Because I said this earlier, I wanna leave you with this. Don't be afraid to play on casual, to play on story mode, to play on easy mode. Don't worry about it. If you're having a good time, just play on whatever you want. Don't stress about it. Don't and if someone else is doing it, just let them enjoy it however they want to enjoy it. If they want to play on extreme, if they want to play on casual, whatever is fun for them.